All right, welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're cracking open Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Using, of course, the 1887 Collier translation.
Of course, of course. Now, this is, the personal journal of a Roman emperor, steeped in Stoic thought. We're talking about some heavy stuff here.
Heavy is an understatement, but that's what makes it so fascinating, right?
Exactly. And for you, dear listener, we're on a mission to unearth some seriously practical wisdom from his reflections, those aha moments that can really cut through all the noise of daily life.
And I think what makes Aurelius's journal so powerful is that it wasn't written for an audience.
Oh, you mean like he wasn't trying to get on the bestseller list?
Aha, right. It was really just for him, a way to process his own experiences, remind himself of his core principles.
So we're getting a totally unfiltered look into the mind of a leader who is dealing with, well, I'd say a few more pressures than most of us face today.
You think. An empire to run, wars, plagues, you name it.
Okay, point taken. So let's jump in. Book I is really interesting because he actually names all these people who shaped him, almost like giving credit where credit's due.
It's pretty unique for that time period. Like his grandfather, Varus, he credits him with teaching him to have a good disposition, not easily angered.
Huh. So Aurelius thought that being even-tempered was a big deal. Makes you think about those foundational character traits we all have.
Absolutely. And then his mother, she instilled in him a strong sense of religion, generosity, and simple living. Shows you how much those early influences can shape our values.
Yeah, pretty foundational stuff. Then you have these really specific lessons from, like, his governor.
Oh yeah, the one who taught him to avoid joining factions at the chariot races.
That's the one. Avoiding all that pointless conflict and rivalry, even back then.
Timeless wisdom, really.
Totally. And then there's Diognetus, who taught him to appreciate plain dealing. Just straight talk, no sugarcoating.
See, Aurelius really valued even those small practical lessons, especially about navigating social situations.
Right. And then comes Rusticus, who basically told him to stop just talking about philosophy and actually, live it.
Walk the walk, right. That shift from theory to practice is really at the heart of Stoicism. It's not just about understanding these ideas intellectually, but about putting them into action every single day.
Okay. So how does that work in practice?
Well, it leads us to that core principle of focusing on what you can control your thoughts and actions and accepting what you can't. Aurelius had this great line, no one can truly force you to misbehave. It's always an internal choice.
So it's all about that internal locus of control, right?
Exactly. And that ties into this idea of living in accordance with nature and reason. For Aurelius, this meant understanding the natural order of things and using your own reason to navigate it. It's about finding that inner harmony.
And he keeps coming back to this idea of everything being interconnected, too.
Like the analogy of our limbs all working together, right?
Yeah.
Each part has its role to play. And that understanding extends to how we view the natural world, even change and, well, death.
Whoa. Okay, let's not get too morbid here.
No, it's not about being morbid. It's actually pretty liberating. Think of life like wax, constantly being reshaped. It's about accepting that change is the norm, so you don't get hung up on clinging to things that will inevitably pass.
Okay, I'm starting to see how that could lead to inner peace.
Exactly. It's about finding that peace amidst all the chaos that life throws at you.
So how do we take all of this and actually apply it to our own lives?
Well, Aurelius gives some really practical advice. Like, he would remind himself every morning to expect to encounter difficult people.
Sounds about right some days.
But the key is, he'd remind himself to respond with understanding, not anger. It's about choosing how you react, even to those frustrating situations.
So instead of letting that annoying email ruin your whole day, you can choose to approach it differently.
Exactly. He also talks about not letting yourself get distracted by what other people are thinking. Your inner peace shouldn't be dependent on external validation.
That's tough, but good advice.
And here's another one. Do not suppose you are hurt, and your complaint ceases. It's all about the power of perception.
Whoa, so like if you don't perceive it as a problem, it's not a problem.
In a way, yes. It's about recognizing that you have a choice in how you frame things. And he's big on the present moment, too.
And the whole be here now thing.
Yeah, because ultimately that's all we really have, right?
Makes sense. Anything else we should be taking notes on?
Oh, definitely. His thoughts on gratitude. He talks about doing good deeds without expecting anything in return, comparing it to a vine that simply bears fruit.
Giving without expecting anything back. That's a tough one, but I like it.
It's about focusing on the action itself, not the potential reward. Oh, and remember that line from the intro?
Refresh my memory.
The best way of revenge is not to imitate the injury.
Powerful stuff.
These aren't just nice-sounding ideas. They're actionable steps you can take to cultivate resilience and build a stronger character. And keep in mind, Aurelius was a leader facing some serious challenges.
Wars, plagues, revolts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yet, he turned to philosophy not as an escape, but as a guide.
That's pretty inspiring.
Meditations is a testament to how powerful inner reflection can be, especially when the world around you feels chaotic.
So, to wrap things up, it sounds like Marcus Aurelius, this philosopher king, left us with some pretty timeless strategies for handling whatever life throws our way.
Strategies for finding stability amidst the chaos.
Totally. And it all comes down to focusing on what we can control, accepting what we can't, and living in accordance with nature and reason.
That pretty much sums it up. Now, here's a final question for you to ponder, dear listener. Think about the pressures you face in your own life. What if you consciously tried applying just one of Aurelius's principles?
Like that morning reminder about difficult people, or maybe the focus on the present moment.
Exactly. How might that change how you approach a challenge you're facing right now?
Definitely something to think about.
It is.
And that wraps up our deep dive into Marcus Aurelius. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.